Welcome to the Enablement Era. I'm your host, Carmen Castellan. Today I have a very special guest, David Kellett. He's the owner and founder of KI Computing, but I will let him introduce himself, and if you can let us know a little bit of your company, it would be great.
Well, I can tell you that I started in IT when I was about 18 years old when I first joined the Navy and took that wonderful test called the ASVAB, and I scored high on it. So they wanted me to do all these technical fields, which when I'd left high school, I thought computers were the devil and I didn't want to be near one. Now it's all I've been doing ever since I was 18. Been troubleshooting in all kinds of different ways and all kinds of different places with many different companies before I decided to start my own because I got tired of being laid off. So this was the perfect way of making sure that I wouldn't get laid off ever.
Well, you know what? That is something that we share in common. That's what brought me to start my own thing. I was laid off, and
Yeah.
I think it's a story that we all share in
Yeah.
common eventually.
Yeah. Eventually you get tired of bad things happening to you. So you want to just have something of your own that you can keep. That's kind of why I started the company. And also because I was looking to grow in more different ways. Because generally, when you get working for a company, you're put in one thing and one thing only, like field service and or networking, or you're overdoing cybersecurity stuff, but then that's broken up into GRC, risk management, and the whole different pieces to it with the security part as well. So you have niches that you can get into nowadays and just work in them for your entire career if you want to, and if you're with a stable enough company to be able to do that. Governments are the only ones where you're going to be stable enough to do that because
That is true.
businesses are going to be bought and sold like they always are. And some people start a business. Actually, most of the people that I've seen start IT companies are just in it until they can sell it to someone else at a profit, if possible. So that's what most IT companies are there for. And even in some of the financing that you can get, for instance, grants or investors, if you get investors, they want you to be able to sell the company at a profit within 10 years. So whoever works for you is only going to be there for 10 years, but you don't tell them that. And that's how it goes. You hire whoever you're going to hire. You never tell them what your actual plan is until it happens.
Yeah. So tell me something. So I read a little bit about yourself, and then you have a strength in cybersecurity,
Yes.
and you are also working with dentists and physicians and some other. What is your niche
Well, my
specifically?
niche is private medical practices, private dental practices, and nonprofits, especially nonprofits that deal with the developmentally disabled. I like them the best.
Oh, wow.
And it's because my son is developmentally disabled, and it's kind of nice to be able to give back a little in a way and to make sure that their stuff is running perfectly, well, as best as you can get it. I'd call it perfectly, but it depends on how you've got it set up, and then all the changes that come that you have to keep adding things on for, especially with the cybersecurity world. I am a member of the GTIA, the Global Technology Industry Association. I'm also a member of ISC2, um, for keeping the industry certs and everything updated and making sure that I'm getting the correct training. I'm watching webinars and everything all the time on what's new, what different strategy you could possibly take, and working on it like that, as well as I'm involved with the technology marketing toolkit um, as a client, because I think what they offer you for teaching you how to sell and market your business and what you have is superior to anyone's out there. And so that's another thing that you get to go to and keep up on. But when you're
Hmm.
talking about medical and dental, you're talking about you have to use something like NIST as a framework to help set them up. and make sure that you're adding all the HIPAA compliance details and everything as you go. And also now all the AI stuff that's getting added.
So that comes to my question, like, so how open physicians and dentists are for this new technology?
Physicians and dentists are open to any technology that makes it easier for them to do their job. And a lot of them really like having wireless tablets so then they can just carry something around, carry their computer around with them rather than having to log in every room that they're using for checking their patients, making sure they can update their medical records and everything else on all of their systems. They're very much enjoy things that make it easier. Repetitive tasks that they can have an AI do, they will shuffle it off to an AI if it's possible. And that's just because it makes it faster for them, faster for their patients, and it makes it a little bit more organized. And also uh, with how the federal government through HIPAA regulations and everything has made all of the diagnoses. I mean, something that they used to be able to do with like one term, no problem. But now it's
Hmm.
all separated out into so many different terms that sometimes they're stuck there searching for what is going to be the right codes to put in, especially on their patients who are using Medicare or Medicaid or some kind of state assistance. Because if they don't get the uh, numbers or letters or whatever for the diagnosis and like that, the code correct, they have to send in batches to get paid of something like
Hmm.
15,000 records at a time. If the government finds one record with one mistake, they kick the whole 15,000 back.
Mm.
And then they don't tell you where the mistake was found. So you've got to go through all 15,000 records or somebody who works for you to find the error, fix it, and resubmit, which is why it's so much harder for doctors of all kinds to, you know, get paid for things. Sometimes it takes them 6 months to a year to get paid from the federal government, which I think is a lousy system,
Yeah.
but that's what they're required to go by. And when you're doing the taking care of their stuff, you have to remember that you're under those controls as well. Not only do you have to make sure that you're compliant with NIST and HIPAA and PCI, DSS, all of those things yourself, you have to make sure that the physician that is utilizing you is as well. So you've got to set up every possible thing that you can think of, which is why the GRC is so important when you're talking about cybersecurity, because most small businesses don't have their governance written down. They don't have
No.
the governance of who's in charge of what or anything else, or the policies that they need for internet use and everything else down in writing. And then they don't have procedures written down for what if this occurs, what am I supposed to do? Or if I've got a new patient, how am I supposed to put them in the system the way that it needs to be put in so that when we bill for it, there's not a problem, not a mistake, and it's all good. As
Yes.
well,
The good
you have to go over duplicates and make sure there's no duplicates that are there because that can cause a problem as well.
the good news for them is that now there are AI tools that they can help them find out those duplicates or those
Well,
mistakes that could take a year. Now it could take hours.
NIST 2.0 added on the stuff for AI security, but then ISO, I think 47,001 or 42,001, I can't remember because I always think 27,001, but the new ones, I think 42,001 or 47,001, that covers AI. And you have to make sure that you're creating your cybersecurity systems with all of that in mind, making sure that you keep everything done very well, is now including things that aren't part of cybersecurity. For instance, the physical aspects of security. That's because those, doors and locks and like that can be tied into your network if you want them to be, so then you know who's coming in and out exactly at what time, or not. They can be, just other regular kinds of locks. And then there's the people who try to sneak inside,
This is totally.
yeah. And one lady that was a presenter at last year's ISC2 Security Congress, that was her job. That was her company's whole job, was they tried to sneak into the business physically, as well as they covered the
Physically.
software side, but they physically tried to get in. Because hackers, if they can't get in through physical mean or through the software means, they will try to get in physically,
So I
again, to
can get
put
the
something
info.
on your systems.
Mhm.
And she's never not been able to get in.
Mhm.
It's generally uh in our social behavior that she's able to do it. Like in one case, she said she just put a sign up on the door. It was the door all the smokers came out and took their smoke breaks. She put a sign on it that read, please do not close this door, or this door to remain open. I don't remember which one it was, but that's all she did, is put that sign up,
And
and
they
they
will leave it
left it
open.
open because people are geared. If it looks professional, if it looks like our management did it, we're going to go with it, rather than calling up management and say, hey, did you put this sign out here? Or calling up their own internal security people and ask, did you put this sign up here? Is this real? People
Or
just
just think.
yeah, you're geared toward
Yeah.
You're geared so much toward doing these things that's how hackers get um, in most cases, from their little emails and like that, the spam that they send you all the time. Because again, the spam nowadays looks so good.
I know.
Yeah.
Even in LinkedIn, you get people that message you, and the profiles, they look completely real, and
Mhm. And then they're
no,
not.
there's they're scammers.
Yeah.
So now, tell me, with all the reading and all these conventions that you go, what do you think are the trends that are going to be impacting this industry?
Well, one, human error is always going to be there. Your end user is always going to be your biggest problem. But then AI, because I'm sorry, but Chat GPT, Copilot, and them are some very easy tools to use that can help you out. But it's how can we limit these tools? One, how can we limit their use, because we don't want people just plagiarizing all their stuff? And what about how much of the AI has access to what on your systems, and how you can monitor
Mhm.
that? That's going to be a big thing. And it is right now. I'm going to the ISC2 Security Congress next month at the end of October over in Nashville. And they're the ones to go with when you're talking cybersecurity. They're the ones you want to go and see everything that they've got up, because their speakers on it, bar none, the best, and so intelligent and so logical on how they do things, and they'll help you out tons. I mean, these guys, some of them will go well above and beyond to help you out in your security stuff, so that you're where you want to be, and the business that you're operating through or doing stuff with is where it needs to be. And they help out quite, I mean, you couldn't believe how much they help out.
Mm.
They all will.
I,
They'll all answer phone calls and texts and everything else to help you out if they can. And that's one of the best things that there is. But also, the next problem that they're going to have to deal with, obsolete equipment that is still being used. Because if nobody's making parts for that obsolete equipment and it's essential to your business, you're going to use that equipment until it has died so bad that you can't ever repair it. I mean, literally, the building has to catch on fire and it burn down with it before they'll replace it. So the legacy systems are things they're going to have to look at even more, and getting people trained back up on them so they can program them and everything else. One of the gentlemen who was training me in cybersecurity, he was from Britain. He runs the cybersecurity for an entire city in Britain. And They had one piece of gear that the only guy who knew how to program it and take care of it retired. And
Oh,
now they have to pay him a consulting fee to come back and fix things when there's anything wrong with it. And
hoping
he's
he doesn't
charging
get
a
sick.
huge consulting fee because he can. He's the only one that knows that system. And if he dies, nobody will know that system. And it's a
When you say he dies, I only wanted to say he doesn't get sick.
yeah, see, well, yeah. If he gets sick or dies, but it's the dead part that you're really worried about because a cold he can get over and come in and do the
I
work.
know.
You know, if he passes away, there's no getting over that. So you've got to make sure at some point that when you have to keep legacy systems in place, you are providing the training and the opportunity for people to train on that system if that's what you have to do, because in some cases large industrial things and also cities and governments, they still have computers and like that in use from
Yeah.
back in you know the Cold War era in the 1950s. In fact, one of the biggest problems with our air traffic control system is they are still using equipment
From back then.
to track and
Yeah.
monitor planes that were built in the 1950s. And they've never
Yes.
been upgraded. And that's almost the entire air traffic control system. No upgrades. And that's a problem with a lot of, your board of directors. Your board of directors want profit, which is acceptable because
Yes.
it's only through profit that you can pay your employees. So you have to have profit. And they don't want to spend money on anything that can take away from their profit. And
But that's what you see there. I don't know how you think, but that's where I feel like there is like a complete like extreme. You see the companies that they invest so much in innovation, and then you have the companies that they don't invest at all.
yes,
It's
it causes some of the disparity, like even Equifax, when it was hacked a few years ago, they tried to blame it on their CSO. And their CSO, because he decided he was retiring right then, he warned them about all that stuff consistently. Every meeting he was in on, he showed all the emails and all the documents that he sent to everybody to make all the changes that would have prevented that from happening. But the board didn't want to spend the money. And
mhm.
that's where they're going to be spending the money because a hack like that is going to happen. And you're going to be liable for all of that. Your reputation is going to be shattered. Your amount of time it takes you to get everything back up is going to cost you in the millions to billions, depending on the size of the company. If you're containing any records that are under some other kind of authority like HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley, or GDPR, or any of those others, well, you're going to have to face those fines too. And the
Well,
only
that's
time
the
that's
cost.
happening in the larger corporations is because the board doesn't want to spend the money. That's why the security people have to find a way to get on that board and include board members in some of the other committees that they have to help run the cybersecurity. So then they could have a greater understanding. Or one gentleman that I met, what he did is he justified what the IT was doing and everything by creating and monetizing what would happen if one of those things that could happen did happen. And it turned out that his IT department was saving them over $1 billion a year. So he was able to, when somebody wanted him to justify it, he just pulled out that sheet and said, I saved you $1 billion last year. What do you want this year?
Yes.
Do you
Yeah.
want to fund us or not? Because this is what it's saving you. So unless you're doing things like that and you can monetize it and justify your existence, the board doesn't see why you're around. And a lot of the board members are older now and they're still there and they don't even use a computer.
Yeah, that's the thing with IT. Sometimes it's not that you bring productivity, but it's cost savings.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So now coming back to AI computing, what are your plans for the next 12 months?
Next 12 months, I plan on hiring, I'm hoping between 8 to 12 people. I need somebody to take
That's
over the
great.
marketing for me, and I'd like two people doing that so then I don't have to worry about marketing. I'm going to have to either hire an accountant or farm that out to some accountant agency in order to handle that part again, so I don't have to. And then I'm going to have a couple of network engineers and some cybersecurity people and cross train some of those to do multiple jobs because sometimes they cross over. And if you don't know what you're doing, it can be a problem. And because
Yes.
people have to take vacations. So you have to make sure people are trained when that guy goes on vacation.
Or they get sick.
Yeah. So that's what I look for in the future. We're adding on new customers at this time at a great rate, and we're very happy about that. So
I'm so happy for you.
no, it has been great, and we're loving it. So, because right now is the first time the company is supporting itself with the customers
That's
that we have.
amazing.
So that is just going to feed into the future where we're able to do better marketing or more marketing, and also able to take on larger clients because we want to make sure that we're doing that, in a correct order, and we're not. I mean, we'll take on any size that you want, but we're going to make sure we have people in place if that's what's going to happen to make sure your needs are met because customer service is the next part of everything that people tend to forget. Uh, um,
Yes.
there were there was a company here that used to be in business. He cussed out one of his customers in her own house because she kept asking him questions while he was trying to troubleshoot. And that is what, happens. And that can
Yeah.
happen. You don't want your people doing that. You send a network guy on site. Well, he's got to be knowledgeable of the network. He's got to be
Yes.
knowledgeable of how the networks are used and what needs to be there for connectivity for hardware and for software. But then he's got to be able to relate to the client. And when you're growing, you have to consider really need to get somebody in here that I can train to do this the way I want it done, not the way you were trained at
Yes.
your last job, not the way you were trained when you came out of college, the way it's actually supposed to be done.
At the end of the day, they are trusting that because you are selling it,
Yeah,
they are trusting on your expertise. That
right.
is people that you train.
Yes.
So, if there is something that you could solve today, what would that be?
The thing that I would like to solve today and that I'm working toward is supply chain issues because I feel that we can do the manufacturing cheaper here and better than they can do overseas, especially when you're dealing with China or Taiwan. And China, we know, is putting back doors into the hardware that they're providing for people. They said they were just kidding, but no, it's going to be there. You
Yeah.
won't be able to find it, or you may find it and then not know what you need to do to shut it off or keep them out. But the thing is, it's going to happen, and you cannot trust a foreign entity to get you everything that you want when you want it, because you're shipping it from overseas. Who
Yeah.
knows what's going to go on between them and another country? But the other problem is the machine. There's only one company that makes the machines that can manufacture those microchips, and that company is out of the Netherlands. And the Netherlands are having problems with their farmers because they decided to go 100% with the Green New Deal stuff. And that meant they were going to force all these farmers to give up their farms and to stop farming.
Mm.
And people don't realize that the advancements in technology are affecting the automobile industry as well as the farming industry and the tools that they use, the tractors they drive, the trucks they use to haul the food off with.
It's everywhere. That I
Yes,
love
there's
technology. It's
almost no
everywhere.
place you cannot find a semiconductor chip of some kind
Yeah.
in the systems. Most newer automobiles have 50 or more computers in them. And then you have Elon Musk and Tesla building the cars that can sense everything around them, take video of everything around them, tell you whatever's going on, and if you're getting too close to somebody, but can drive themselves. If you feel tired, you tell it, take me home or wherever, and you can lay back and take a rest, and it'll get you there, hopefully. you know?
Hopefully that I don't trust yet, but
Yeah.
eventually we will get there.
But I believe, like one commentator said, there's going to come a time when your grandchildren are going to go, they actually let you drive the car? Because with self-driving cars, they'll eventually become prevalent because there isn't anyone out there that wouldn't like that ability. I got to go on a 4-hour trip. I want to take a nap, or I got to drive 12 hours. I want to be able to take a nap and only have to get up when we have to take a break to refuel or recharge or whatever it is. The amount of technology going into all of that is incredible. And everybody who works in technology can find some niche to work in and make their specialization and make their money for their entire careers. And with semiconductors, if you can
it's
get the
going
production of it over
fast.
here and at a good price, you're going to be winning over here if you can do that and eliminate that supply chain problem. And the feds are putting tons of money into it right now. Billions.
Yeah, it is going fast.
Yeah.
Well, David, we are coming to the end of our episode. I really appreciate the conversation. It was super fun.
Okay.
There is one last question I have, and this is just for fun. If there was like a magic button that you could push and enable anything you could in the world, either personal or whatever, call it world peace, what would that be?
My magic button would be I can actually retire the way I want and do a lot of traveling.
Oh, I love that one. I would push it now, right away. Well, I have to agree with your button. Thank you so much, David.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Take care.
You have a good day.